Hey guys, welcome. We just got back from Colossal, the monster movie, and we have here the lovely Erica joining us. You may know her from our board game streams.
Yes.
She paints a lot of the miniatures that we do from Wonko's Toys and Games here in Austin. Thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here.
And so I wanted sort of a little bit of a female perspective in this film because we have a female lead.
Yes.
Anne Hathaway takes the lead role in this monster film, but it's also kind of a quirky, independent film feeling comedy slash romance a little bit,
Yes.
action film, but then it turns.
A little bit of everything.
It is a little bit of
yeah.
everything. It is really an imaginative concept, Joe. This thing hit me because when I was a kid, I had an idea just like this. You know, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a director. I had this story where you could control kaijus, and this is the film. It's up on the big screen, and I gotta tell you, it is fucking awesome.
Yes.
It is so.
I wouldn't so far as say it was awesome. It's not awesome.
It is awesome. How dare
I
you,
do
Joe?
as well.
Okay, you know what? You're allowed to have a different opinion. Good. We'll have a different opinion here. So let me just say. Little plot synopsis. This is Anne Hathaway realizes that she somehow. That somehow she's connected to the monster that is terrorizing South Korea instead of Japan. South Korea. Okay.
And Seoul,
Seoul.
Well,
Yeah.
you find out later why.
All right, and so she's connected and she can control this monster, and that's kind of all you get in the trailer.
Yes.
You don't know where the concept is going. We got Jason Sudeikis, who I love, extremely funny actor. Love his work. Anne Hathaway is cast, and she does an amazing job in this film.
Yes,
and
she does.
so I don't want to. It's very difficult.
It is. You can't
Very
really
difficult to talk
spoil
about
it.
this film because this
Now
film.
you know why the trailer was so small.
Yes,
Exactly.
it is a lot deeper film than you think it is. But I can say this. Don't go in it expecting a monster brawl film.
It's not a monster brawl.
I
Not-
did not expect that at all.
I was telling her, I was like, I think it's probably going to be more of a character, focusing on the characters, very little use of monsters and CGI, because it does feel like an independent film, a little bit more. It does have a lower budget. But actually, I was surprised by the amount of monsters we saw and the quality of CGI, which was
CGI was
impressive.
On par, yes.
On par
That was
of
good.
Godzilla and King Kong, on par of those. But there's a lot less of it. But I was not bothered by that.
No.
Because what we got
It was just this heartstring pulling, emotional ride that leads you to, really connect with the actors
characters,
and actresses.
yeah.
Yes.
I mean, there are so many great scenes that real people can relate to, especially the opening scene.
the opening, and it's not really a spoiler because it's
No.
actually in the
It's
trailer
a
part
trailer.
where Anne Hathaway has a drinking problem and her boyfriend, packs her bags and tells her to leave.
Get out.
Get out!
Get out, but in
Get
a
out.
nice
Take
way.
so much.
So it kind of wrecks her life, and they've got this great. The director has fantastic cinematography. The shots are set up well, where she's kind of, you can feel her disconnection when she realizes that it's over between them, or he just wants her out. Like, her friends show up at that time, they're talking and going, and she can't hear none of them. She's completely disconnected. Her life is over at that point, and she has to essentially restart by going to her hometown and meeting one of her childhood classmates, Jason Sudeikis' character, and he sort of befriends her and gives her a job at a local bar,
Things
and then
seem to start improving.
and things start improving until she realizes that when she gets fucking shit-faced drunk, she loses track of time and she realizes that
Hey.
she's connected to this monster.
Hey, wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
So that's this concept, and it was done fantastically. So Joe, as a person who may not have liked it as much as me and Erica, what did you think of the acting? Did you think the acting was good? What about Jason? Jason?
There, I had no complaints.
Okay.
I liked Anne Hathaway, and she was great casting. And Jason, great as always.
Yeah.
He played a great role. He was kind of mysterious, kind of had me guessing the entire movie.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed
He
it.
does have some range on him. There's
does.
a lot of the characters in this film have a surprising range, and I think that is due to the director, who is also the writer.
He was very good.
Nacho, I'm going to butcher your last name. I got your first name,
Vigalondo.
Nacho Libre.
Vigalondo.
Vigalondo, yeah. extremely intelligently written story. The dialogue, very smart. Lots of jokes. No real laugh out loud jokes, but you can feel the banter is genuine.
Yeah.
These are genuine characters that you can connect with because it doesn't do the Hollywood bullshit of, everybody's a paragon of virtue or they're a Mary
Everybody's just
Sue or
happy
something.
about
right?
everything. Oh, let
Yeah.
it go. It's all right.
These are flawed, fucked up characters at
and
Yeah.
it
times.
was
Big
very
time.
well portrayed as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
All of it.
So,
See, like coming into this movie, I saw the trailer. I was like, all right. I thought it was gonna be like a comedy. I didn't expect too much with the monsters. I was like, it's gonna be a good comedy.
it's a lot more than a comedy, and I
Not-
think
it
that
was- I don't think it was comedy at all.
it was a comedy.
There was
There
definitely-
was some laugh out loud moments. Controlling a monster, doing that dance.
Doing the dance.
Yeah.
All right. When you see that trailer, then after that, that's it. There's not really any.
Erica, do the dance. Do the dance.
All right. So when she realizes that she can actually control him, she goes over and does like the pointy little jig and everything. And
You didn't think that was funny,
that
Joe?
was great.
I saw it in the trailer. I was like,
Ah,
all right.
yeah, the trailer does
Then
give it
after
away,
that,
but
it's not a comedy. It was just a serious tone. the
it does
entire
get
way.
it does get more dramatic.
It
So you
is.
have to be prepared for that.
Oh,
I just
wow.
want to commend this movie because it really does feel like an indie film on this big ass budget in theaters, and I want every single one of you to go out and see this because I want to support these creative stories. Every single time this film had the opportunity to accidentally write itself into a corner or break your sense of immersion, it doesn't because they realize how ridiculous it is. The irony in it and the monster film stuff is all played for laughs, but it's also taken serious when things start to take that turn in that second act where Joe's talking about. Just an incredibly imaginative story that for me ends perfectly, ends in an adult way. And we have to talk more about it in spoilers. Our spoiler section is going to be huge, but I want to say I don't see any reviews, a whole lot of reviews out for this film, and I think Rotten Tomatoes had it like 70. No, it's way better than that, in my opinion. I want you to see it. So let's start with final verdicts, and we're going to start with OtherJoe here.
So, right off the back, I didn't hate the movie like you said.
It's fair.
It was a cool concept and everything, but
Oh, they also gave us I'm sorry, Joe. They gave
I
us
didn't
these
get one.
monsters.
That's another reason why I didn't get one.
Here, you
No.
take this.
Take it, we'll have a monster fight.
It'll make you happier.
So what would you give it? Out of
After
10.
everything's said and done, I'm gonna have to give this a 6 out of 10.
What?
I'm sorry.
Joe, a 6?
Yeah.
Holy shit, Erica, what the fuck happened with
I
this
don't
guy?
know.
Just like second half just kind of fell for me.
It must have been
Oh,
the
the
sorry.
second half was where most of the fights were and the
Punch,
tension
heart,
and the heartstrings. There's a scene where Anne Hathaway you could see all this emotion coming. Okay, sorry. No way, Joe. Okay,
It's
you'll have to
okay.
tell me why in the spoilers or expand
Yes,
on
I
that.
Don't go
okay.
in thinking
I respect
it's
your
a comedy. That's
maybe.
the problem.
Don't go in
apparently.
thinking it's a comedy. Don't go in thinking it's a monster brawl film. Anyways, final
of it.
verdict, Erica. What do you think?
I really wanted to say 8.5 because it was a really, really good
No
movie.
0.5s here on the
But-
Angry Joe Show.
I
We
know,
don't pussyfoot
I
around
know.
here.
I'm not gonna pussyfoot it.
It's either an 8 or a 9.
I'm gonna-
Make up your mind.
I love seeing it in the theater, and I really
Uh-huh.
did. But I don't think I'd see it in the theater again.
Thank you.
I'm just saying. So honestly.
No, I actually agree with that. I actually agree.
So
with that.
honestly, I would give it an 8
It's a-
because it was a
Rental.
solid
An 8.
movie.
Yeah, I can see an 8.
Everything about it was great, but you can't go in expecting the wrong thing out
Yeah.
of it. It just gives you all of the roller coaster rides for every part of your soul and everything like that. I mean, if you have one, good for you. But
Yeah, if you have an imagination.
No.
I have an imagination.
It's
I have
okay.
a soul.
Use your
I
imagination.
have a soul, alright?
it's just not a soul.
So I liked it way more than both of these guys because I was over here considering. I know you did like it, but I was considering like a 10. I was like 9,
What?
10.
You're
Yes, Joe.
crazy.
This is like a story.
So you think it's
This is
like
like a
a
story.
10,
When I
you're
was a
thinking
child, I
like-
wanted to make the story and put it on the big screen. Somebody else did it way better than I could have. It's imaginative. I never thought I would have seen this on screen. All the different directions it takes. It doesn't do the Hollywood bullshit. It actually goes for a serious, mature route, even though it's doing something incredibly crazy. Monsters fighting each other, controlling monsters with your mind. That's crazy. It's ridiculous. But it takes it does have serious elements to it, and it actually has very serious tones. This thing deals with abuse, of drugs and relationships, friendship, lots of different things.
It's a very realistic way to look at what would happen if somebody in the real world had these certain abilities. And so that's
yeah,
why I
and
give
that
it
too,
the 8.
that too. So yeah, I'm gonna go with 9 out of 10 ultimately because there is moments that I can see maybe Joe disconnected with it probably during the second and the third act, but it was fantastic. Would I see it in theaters again? No, but I would buy it on Blu-ray because I'm so excited from the director's standpoint to see how did he actually get this on the screen. Was it a story they made when he was younger and then made grow with as he aged, or if it's something he came up with right away and basically the commentary, all that stuff. I want that. I want that. So I would totally buy this on film. Go out and see it in theaters once. My recommendation, Joe would say a rental. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I'd go see it.
Go see it in theaters.
At least once.
At least once. So that's our verdicts. Go out and see this. I want it to do well. I don't want this to be another Ghost in the Shell. That these creative fucking ideas make no goddamn money. And we get the same processed garbage.
Yeah.
Power Rangers doing, no, that bombed. That bombed. I think that was going to lose like... Or no, it's Ghost in the Shell that bombed.
Yes.
I'm not sure
That is
how
bombed.
good Power Rangers is doing.
I think that did pretty well, actually.
We'll
know,
see.
I'm
We'll
sorry.
see. We'll have to see. So, but I want it to do well in theaters. If you appreciate sort of indie movies with high concepts, if you like monster films, if you like stories about friendship and sort of reclaiming your life, you're gonna love this one. And it mixes a lot of different genres together. Very inventive. Very rare to see a film like this. And it's got a great theme. Giant monsters. All right? Go out and see it in theaters. And stick around for the spoiler section next. But that's it for us. Erica, thank you so much.
Of course.
So fun having you here.
Happy to be here.
It helps that you helped me out in this against Joe.
It's okay, Joe. You
'Cause I
have
didn't-
your own opinions.
I didn't want to have to fight both of you.
I
In the film.
I mean...
Where, there's...
Punch her.
There was, there was abuse.
Besides,
There was
besides.
abuse of women in this. So anyways, all right. We're not going to do that here. So thank you guys so much. And join us in the spoiler section. All right, guys?
ya.
See you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys. Okay, so for all of you, this is the spoiler section. So we can talk about whatever, and I have to immediately grab Joe and tell him,
Yes.
why didn't you like this film as much as me?
Bring
What
it
went
up,
wrong?
man. Just like
What went wrong?
just a whole bunch of alcohol.
Was there Joe? Or was there Joe? Was there jokes that made you laugh? Was there good comedy?
Man.
You're smiling.
Oh.
You're
What's
smiling.
one that made you stuck out? What's
Well,
a joke that
it's
stuck
not a
out?
laugh out loud comedy. I get you
Yeah.
with that. I get you. It's not a laugh out loud comedy,
It's
but
not.
it does seem. Do you feel that these relationships in this film were genuine?
Only two.
Which ones?
Obviously with Anne Hathaway and Jason, those two. But right from the
No, I
get-go,
thought-
you could kind of tell Jason was kind of like a stalker. He's like,
You
oh,
could tell that.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
oh, you've been following me. He's like, well, yeah, of course. When somebody leaves, I'm gonna look them up and everything, and he's always showing up. And always
But see,
trying
for
to
me,
be
that surprised me. I thought, because I know, you think typecast, you think Jason's going to be some funny guy.
Yeah, that's what I was
And it
thinking as
turns
well.
out that Jason Sudeikis, in all the materials, he's been the funny guy. He's actually the villain in the film.
He is.
Jealous and
A
insecure.
fucking creepy
as
stalker,
fuck.
asshole,
Yeah.
abusive motherfucker.
I don't know if I would have called him a stalker though. Yes, he happened to be paying attention to her work.
Yeah.
But if somebody became famous from your small little hometown, wouldn't you kind of want to know what they were doing? Like, hey, they happen to be a writer in a big place with their name out there. It's like, hey, good for you.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily a
Yeah,
stalker.
but you would leave it at that. But then, like, he's like, kind
As time goes along,
Still,
we
I
realize
know.
what character flaws he has, and it turns out that long ago, when they were children, because they lived in the same city, they had some sort of science project or whatnot. She made a little diorama of South Korea. He has his own little diorama. Not exactly sure what it was for, but there's this storm, and it blows away her diorama into a tree, and Jason goes to retrieve it for her. You think, okay, and they show clips of this flashback, and you think, oh, Jason's a good guy,
Yeah,
wants to help this
yeah.
little girl. So they kept you guessing, Joe.
They did.
At least for
No,
me,
they
they
did.
kept me
They did.
guessing
Yeah.
on Jason. And at first he seems like he's a good guy, but then realize later on he grabs it and he throws it on the floor instead of giving it to her and just starts stomping on it. And she gets so pissed off, and she either has some sort of superpowers or whatever, where the storm just like electrifies her right there in her head. Oh, the storm also hits him as well, right? And so it allows her to create this manifestation of either her problems or her issues into a monster.
They had the toys
Yeah,
with
they had
them
the
in
toys.
the
Oh,
yeah,
diorama.
yeah.
And so that allowed them to some sort of create that creature that they had with them as children.
And
They're
that's a big
toys.
surprise too, because I did not expect 2 monsters in this film.
No.
I expected one, and I guess I should have expected, right? Because a monster, you gotta have a brawl in it. But I didn't think there'd be a second monster. The second monster is Jason.
Yes.
What is his monster?
His monster's a giant robot.
And he looks fucking cool.
It's great.
And they fight. They have these several fight scenes in it where if they're in the playground at 8:05 p.m. or a.m. actually, then they control their little
They
monsters.
will actually manifest.
And if you,
in full.
there's so many great scenes in this film. They have a scene where they're arguing, and he's like, they're both drunk because they're drunks.
Yeah.
They're like angry drunks.
They are.
And he wants to stomp on the city because of his problems, and she
slaps
fucking
him.
slaps him.
Get out of here, go!
And she points and go, and so everybody in South Korea is like, the monsters on our side, and there's just so many cool aspects to the film that I thought was really, really interesting. I didn't expect it to go into any of these directions, and the fact that the trailer didn't show everything, didn't even show a second monster, didn't even hint at Jason being the villain for the film, where he ends up just hating himself so much, hating that somebody can leave his town and make something big of themselves, that he's jealous of them. But it's not only that, it's more that he's kind of a shitty person himself. And he combines those two things together, and he wants to just drag her down to his level. He manages, she comes because she had broken up with her boyfriend over in New York or some super expensive place. She moves back, and he offers her a job at his bar.
Yeah.
But later on, he starts to use that against her, like, go fucking get that drink for me,
go
bitch.
turn that off.
Make me a sandwich.
Well, yeah,
You know, I'm like,
exactly.
whoa, yeah. I was like, oh
He
shit.
slowly becomes this possible highlight in her life. Hey, I'm gonna try and become a sober person. I'm gonna do my best to become a better person.
Oh yeah.
And he just
drags
turns it
down.
right the fuck around and goes, drink this
Why aren't
beer.
you drinking
If
beer?
you don't drink this, and I think you're not drinking it because of me,
Yeah.
you drink it or I'm gonna go fuck up this city.
Yeah.
Because you're being a bitch. And it's just like, what? You're being a dick.
You're the one being a bitch. You're the one being a dick.
Yeah.
And so when he realizes that, you know, he can no longer control her, because that's his whole thing. He wants to control her. And you have this boyfriend character played by
It was
Dan Stevens. And he's this good-looking British guy, blue eyes. He good, you know.
He was alright looking.
Yeah, his British accent and everything. You're like, okay, this is the love interest. He breaks up with her, and throughout the film, she's calling him. I'm like, no, stop calling that guy,
seems
man.
needy.
Break up with him and be with Jason. And then that led me perfectly in where the movie wanted me.
Tunneled in.
And I just tunneled right in there. And they realized that Jason's a bad guy, and this guy actually is a good guy. And you know, when he's like, you're not gonna go with him, you know, he does some fucked up shit in this bar,
That's pretty funny.
lights a firework. He's like, I'm gonna do the most irresponsible thing that you can do in this bar, just to prove it doesn't matter what I do. She's not going with you, she's gonna stay with me, because we're both damaged people, and I have her under my wing because like I'm controlling her. And she ends up staying with him. And she can't realize that she's like, fuck, I'm in this bad position. He shows up at her house. He's already in her fucking house.
Yeah.
Copied her.
Already in her house.
Totally
sitting on her couch.
He's like, I'm just here to make sure you don't call him.
Yeah.
So you won't go
He
back.
becomes
You
this
can go.
abusive
Whoa,
boyfriend.
whoa.
Yeah.
Not even boyfriend. He's just a stalker at this point.
Yeah.
He broke into her fucking house
Exactly,
and just
exactly.
sat there like, no.
Yeah. And so, but then that's when she gets the courage to be like, you know what? I'm not doing this shit anymore. And she calls her ex-boyfriend, and she's like, I'm coming with you. And then that's when the tension reaches 10 because he's looking at her and she's looking at him and the sirens go off. It turns out that it's 8:05.
Yep.
And he was like, I'm going to fuck shit up if you don't stay here with me. And so she's looking at him and he's like, and he gets up to go fuck shit up, and she tries to stop him, tries to take him out, and it's a girl versus a guy in a fucking fist fight, and you've got this monster fist fight, and it was just so creative. But she comes up with a very intelligent way in order to stop this from happening. She flies to.
How did she afford that ticket?
I'm sure she's got
broke.
money. Her family's
She's
rich.
broke.
They have a house. They have a house.
Yeah, that's right.
Her family's rich, so she had to go sleep on a air mattress.
She wasn't gonna tell them that, hey, I went back to my
Joe,
hometown.
it's not that expensive. $500, $600 to save the world.
I'm sure a
might
ticket
be-
to Seoul,
okay,
if
I'll give
Seoul's
you
under
that.
attack.
Credit cards.
Yes, I was gonna go with that. It might be cheaper. They're under attack. Like fuck, we'll take anybody. At this
All
point.
right,
You
tourism
want
has
$20?
stopped.
$20.
Tourism has
I don't know
stopped.
why the fuck you going $20.
That was another thing. If you want to try to talk about bitching and being unrealistic, so I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit. If that really happened, if there's monsters showing up at regular intervals in South Korea, what do you think would really happen?
If they wouldn't show up, they would probably evacuate everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
Why
tell
didn't
you.
they
I'm
get
not gonna
everybody
tell you.
get
the fuck
evacuated?
At the
Now-
same time,
You live here. You don't live here no more.
Now,
Yeah,
to
that's another
get
thing
the
I was
fuck
thinking
out.
give them
about.
a little
Get
credit
outta
for
here.
it. Before they realized there was a second monster, Anne Hathaway started realizing, well, hey, wait a second, I'm the fucking monster. What's happening? He's dancing. Oh, like who?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
But she uses that power responsibly, and she
Yes.
goes and writes a message to the South Korean people in South Korean, like, I'm sorry, this will never happen again. I was like,
was
oh
an
my god, it's
accident.
so fucking awesome.
Very
How can you
considerate.
hate this concept? It's so
I don't
cool.
hate it. I said it was
I
above average.
thought this concept
It was
was
a cool
amazing, and it was
concept.
executed excellently. Now, it wasn't no action brawl film with fucking kaijus fighting each other nonstop, but it was a different take, and I was prepared for it. So, I just think you need to go out and see this film. Anything else we can talk about?
Joe, you're the only one
I
who
hate
really
it.
hated it.
You know who I
I
hated?
didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I did not hate it.
6 out of 10.
6 out
A
of
lot
10
of our
is not
audience
really
thinks
liking
that
it.
that
It's
that
not.
you'll hate it, but it is
5 is
above
average.
average, or
Above
slightly
average. There you
slightly
go.
above average.
I said it's a
Well,
good
I want you
rental.
to explain to me why I missed some of those points, because 4 points off, that's quite a big
It's
dip.
diff.
No,
Why?
I just didn't like the whole way it ended up the second half. I didn't like the jealousy part.
What do you mean the
How-
jealousy part?
The
Well,
fireworks.
No, the way Jason was acting is so fucking like kind of crazy. Like,
He's
awkward,
supposed to
and I
be
was like,
creepy
this-
and awkward.
He was.
Yeah.
That's
And
his
then
character.
His friends
Ah.
just kind of pissed me off. They just they just stood there.
So,
like,
so
cooking.
the
Yeah.
reason why you see what happened, you see what I'm
Yes.
about to do.
Yes.
Joe's taking points off because he's getting personally invested in it. He's like, my friends wouldn't do that. I would never do that to
Right.
anybody. But
Because
these
you have
are
good
flawed
friends.
characters, right? And Joe expects like all these characters to act exactly how all these characters would act. But that's right, and this ties in perfectly. There's a handsome guy in their little crew in this
As-
old city that even Anne Hathaway just has meaningless one-night stand sex with because
As
he's a
we
good-looking
call
guy.
him, he was drunk.
And that happens
Yes.
all the fucking time because he's a fucking idiot.
As we ended up co-naming him, he's the pussy.
He's
And
the fucking
It
pussy.
was Austin Stowell.
Yeah, played by Austin Stowell.
It was really good
And-
pussy.
Yeah, and because, like, even during the times where Jason Sudeikis is even physically pushing Anne Hathaway in the playground while they're having their monster fight, he still doesn't do jack shit. And that is because he's been in the Friends crew, and Jason has been bullying them probably the whole fucking time in that Friends crew. He not only openly bullies that pussy, but he also openly bullies their other friend played by Tim Nelson,
The
who
alleged drug
druggie.
Yeah,
Like he
you
goes to
I
the
did the
he
quote.
goes to the bathroom a lot or whatever, and he apparently is doing
UTI. He's got
cocaine in
UTI.
there.
He was
Yeah.
called out for it because apparently he had been doing it before, and then Seagal just goes off the fucking end, like, oh well, he drinking out of the entire bottle, bullying everybody. Bitch, go pull down that. What was
Yeah, the
the
projector
projector?
thing.
No,
He's
that's
like-
her job. You fucking let her do it.
Yeah, he was being a huge dick, and
He
Jason.
was.
So I can see how you just fucking hate him and like, I hate this, but you're supposed to hate this. That's not supposed to affect the rating because how do you make a good villain? You're like, Man, fuck this guy. If it gives you that reaction, it was like, I would stand up for her. I would do something like that pussy, like, having relations with her and not even, fucking saying a damn thing when he's pushing her and punching her and shit. It's like, you want to be like, what the fuck? But they make that character that way on purpose, and that all added to it because it went in a direction I never even expected it to go. We've got fucking, male on female abuse.
Yeah.
Now this film actually takes on a lot of serious topics.
It
does.
And not in an insulting way. In sort of a creative background story way, in a realistic way, where even general audience members can understand this is wrong, this is fucked up, and this guy is out of control and he needs to be stopped. And that's the other spoiler, is at the end of the film when she says, fuck you, you're not dominating me anymore, you're not going to control my life, I'm leaving, I'm going back to New York with my boyfriend.
After legitimately
Yeah.
Seagal saying, if you don't stay here, every night you don't stay here, I'm going to that playground
fuck that city
and
up.
I'm going to murder a bunch of people because you're not here.
It's such a cool concept, man. I keep saying that, but it is, because it's this story amongst friends with global ramifications and consequences. It's so cool for me. Anyways, so she realizes that the connection is, this is a two-way street. If we show up in South Korea, what if I go to South Korea? I will show up in the United States where this playground is. So she does that. She shows up as the monster while he's rampaging as the robot in South Korea.
She probably killed like tons of people though.
What do you mean?
Back home.
Oh, she probably did.
No, she didn't, Joe.
She might have. She might have.
Whatever.
I mean, she didn't take into
Anyways.
consideration where they were.
She doesn't know the layout.
It's okay. It was good.
So there was nothing around. There's a park. Oh, I guess
There's
it
a
was.
park with
Leading
fucking
into the
kids.
Children running to
Come
school.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Fine. Whatever. Anyways, so she grabs him before he
It was
can
for
go
a
and
good
stomp
cause.
on shit.
Yes.
And she grabs him, and she pulls him up right to her face, screams in his face. And he says to her, like, at first you think he's going to be like, okay, I swear to God, I won't do this anymore. Instead, he's like, you fucking bitch!
Put
or
me
whatever.
down,
Put
you
me
fucking
down, you
bitch."
fucking bitch. And you realize, you cannot stop this guy. Yeah. And what does she do to him?
Just throws him.
Fucking
She just
throws
fucking throws him.
And so the robot goes flying in South Korea, and he goes flying in America. That motherfucker is dead.
Everybody clapped.
Jason is splat dead. His body is combusted all over the ground. And I thought that, and I was like, again, that I commend the movie for giving it that direction, because you could have gone with this pussyfoot Hollywood ending where it's like, oh, I'm sorry,
I don't
oh, you
wanna
fucking
murder
bitch,
him.
and then I don't want to murder him, so I'll put him back. And did you learn your lesson? No, she's like,
No,
okay,
I wanted him
I
to
have
grab
to
him.
make.
Oh, that was another one. Just,
You want to kill him
Bam.
like that?
You don't want a
That was
tummy
too
ache.
much for the audience.
You don't
probably.
want to get a tummy ache from a bully. Come on.
You spit it. You don't swallow. You just spit it out.
You just crunch him up a few times.
So she had to make this difficult decision, which is, I can't continue to let this guy who cannot be redeemed, who doesn't want to stop this, from killing people. And she makes the hard decision. And you can tell it still affects her afterwards. Yes. And that has an adult ending, a mature ending, an ending that makes you think, did she do the right thing? Could he really have reformed? And you know what? She just had to make that difficult decision. And this is one of those films, doesn't need a sequel. It's a fucking complete story. And I think it will never get a sequel. And it shouldn't get a sequel. It's
it probably
complete story.
will, but...
Probably won't. Because it has this indie mentality, I think that the director, this Nacho Libre guy,
Yes.
I'm not trying to insult. This is one of our favorite
It's a good
movies.
name.
That he really understands that, it's a complete story, fantastic story. As you can tell, I really want you to go out and see it. Unfortunately, most of you stopped watching this part because this is the spoilers part,
okay.
and that's where all the juicy bits were. But hopefully, our initial review got you to want to go out and see it. All right, guys, so we'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.
Bye.